Hello, welcome back to your stable friend. We're going to get right into this. I read something this morning that horrified me, and I thought about it all day, and I talked to people about it as well, and wanted to get other people's opinions on the story. It's such a tragedy, and it could have been avoided, and I will say right now that we're going to talk a little bit about avoidance, and when you want to avoid a situation, it doesn't mean that you're a chicken or that you're afraid or that you don't want to deal with something or that you don't want to grow or that you don't want to learn. Sometimes avoiding a situation is the best and safest thing to do. And when you are dealing with an animal who you are responsible for them and their life, once they're delivered to you and you are now their new custodian, you are responsible for their life. And you have to make decisions for them. A young woman, maybe in her 30s, with self-proclaimed 15 years of horse experience. But being that she's young, a lot of that looks to me like a childhood experience. And not that childhood experience isn't very valuable, it is, but that could be like learning to ride or taking riding lessons. It might not be like a daily experience. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows in this story. So we're going to have to connect some of the dots on our own. She was given, someone just gave her, dropped off at her home, at her ranch, a 3-year-old horse. And she specifically, allegedly, asked multiple times if the horse was aggressive, that she did not want an aggressive horse. It's funny, I've never asked that. I've never asked about a horse being aggressive. So to me, there must have been something that a red flag went up for her to be so adamant wanting to know if the horse was aggressive. The seller, well not seller, the one who was giving the horse said absolutely not. The horse is not aggressive at all. So they dropped the horse off to her. They gave her, they walked the horse, I guess, to a round pen. They gave her the lead rope. Horse was in a halter. They drove away, bye-bye. And she was left with this 3-year-old horse. And she, the way she describes it, or the way that it appeared to me when I was reading her account of the story, was that she went to take the halter off. And at that moment, the horse reached around and grabbed her by the shoulder, allegedly picking her up, shaking her, dropping her to the ground, stomping and pawing on her, and as she tried to escape by crawling out underneath the panels of the round pen, he grabbed her again, I think by the leg, and dragged her back in and proceeded to continue to stomp and paw on top of her body. Horrifying. I feel so badly for her. That's going to be a lot to come back from, not only the physical damage that has been done to her, and something on her head, some sort of a head injury. Not only the physical trauma, but the emotional and mental trauma that she will certainly suffer. Her confidence will certainly suffer, I'm sure, but with this. It's just awful, just awful. Her solution to what happened in this with the horse, I guess she had to go to the emergency room and then be in the hospital for at least for a little while. Her solution about what to do with the horse was what's making me so uncomfortable right now. To have it put down immediately. It sounds like the horse was put down immediately. Now, one of the people that I talked to today said, well, I understand that because now she knows this horse is dangerous, and it would be a liability for her to keep the horse on the property. I understand that. But also, too, you could keep the horse in a safe place until possibly a veterinary college might want to have a look at this horse. I think this would be fascinating for a veterinary college. Does the horse have a brain tumor, a neurological problem? Maybe rabies? What happened? My questions are these. Did she do any research before? Did she find out anything else about the horse? Did she get the horse sight unseen? Because it sounds like she did receive a horse sight unseen. Did she not want to inquire about getting any videos, seeing the horse doing certain things in the videos? Or can I see you handle the feet? Can I see somebody lunging the horse? Or can I see somebody turning the horse out or working with the horse at liberty? Can I see somebody grooming the horse? I would, at the very minimum, ask for that. At the very minimum. I took a horse sight unseen. The woman that my friend that I spoke to today, she took a horse sight unseen. Both of these horses were race horses that had both been on the track, had both been running, so we both felt pretty safe that, well, if they were terrible criminals or rogues and trying to kill people, they wouldn't be surviving at the track, they would be long gone. So we both felt comfortable with that, besides the fact that we could both get registration papers and track to the breeders, the trainers. I spoke to the breeder, the trainer. I did research. I watched the horse. I found my horse's races that he ran. I watched those. What I'm getting at is we've had a series of videos about buyer beware or seller beware, or someone said she should turn around and sue the seller. I don't think there's any case there. I think that this is a buyer beware issue, and you know, obviously the seller was in one who wasn't even a seller, it wasn't even a sale. So I think that's an issue too. I mean, this horse could have been absolutely 100% fine for this other human, but something obviously triggered the horse, and we don't know the horse's side of the story. We have no idea what happened. Did something happen that she's not telling us in the story? Was this horse defending himself? Remember, he just got dropped off at a strange place, strange sights, strange smells, strange person. Maybe she did something to make him equally uncomfortable. Maybe she was punitive with him in such a way that was triggering for him. I mean, who knows? We're not getting enough of this story. But it's enough of a story to make me want to get in front of this camera tonight and tell you that as someone who is looking for a horse, if you are a buyer or someone's giving you the horse for free, it does not matter. They have that old saying, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You look that gift horse in the mouth. You don't only look it in the mouth, you ask for videotape. You ask to see other people handling the horse. You ask to see, oh, could I see the horse with maybe, I don't know, some chickens and dogs around? You find out. You don't let someone drop off a stranger at your house that you know nothing about. It turns out, upon more investigation, that the horse was a young stallion. And our little alerts are going off, maybe a bottle-fed stallion, which there's a, you know, train of thought that they can be more aggressive because no one has taught them in the field, you know, no mama, no little other friends around to tell you what's appropriate behavior, what's not appropriate behavior. And so I've heard that said that, you know, a bottle-fed stallion can be a problem. But she didn't know. She seemingly didn't ask anything more than, is the horse aggressive? At least that's what it's saying in her story. How could we have protected her from this happening? How could we have protected this poor horse that could have literally been the greatest horse in the world that happened to have a fright, be triggered, maybe has a neurological problem, maybe had some sort of a seizure or something weird that it reacted to in a weird way? Who knows? But we can't find out now. We don't know anymore. There's no way to rectify what happened. It was a temporary problem, and there was a permanent solution made to that temporary problem. So we'll never know if that could have been somebody's amazing companion horse, someone's amazing show horse, some amazing breeding stallion who breeds all kinds of wonderful, you know, foals from here to the end of eternity. We don't know. That horse will never have a chance to prove himself or tell his side of the story. We will never know, because he is gone now, and he was taken out of this world because humans made really poor choices and used really poor judgment. Used extremely poor judgment and made really bad choices. doing further investigation even further, this woman has young children, has a pony who happens to be a mare. Maybe this mare was in season. Maybe this young colt, he's a colt, let's face it, he's 3 years old. Maybe this colt, this was the first time he had been aroused that way. We don't know. There's so many we don't know. But have we not found a safe place to keep him for a few days until maybe a vet could look at him, or we could make a few phone calls to find out if maybe a college would want to have him donated to see what this incident was about, to find out more about when horses act out this way? Is putting the horse down sort of more like a knee-jerk reaction, an angry reaction, almost like a violent sort of retaliation, like, look what you did to me, you tried to kill me, I'm going to kill you. Now you are going to be killed. Where that may have not been his intention at all to kill her. He may have just been acting out of fear, out of anxiety, in a panic. Who knows? Maybe when she took that halter off and was walking away, he was so afraid to be in this place alone that he just wanted to grab her back, just didn't want her to leave. We'll never know. We'll never know, because I'm sure the second that she got the first bite, I'm sure she reacted, and then he reacted even more, like any altercation, would occur that way. All I know is here we have a human that's been severely injured, and we have a horse whose life is ended at 3 years old without ever knowing who he was going to be or what happened to him or anything like that. And it could have completely been avoided. So let's make a little list of how we could have avoided this. Number 1, know your limitations as a human. I have never had a stallion. I've ridden stallions. I had a wonderful client who had a gelding and a stallion, and I rode both of those boys, and the stallion was just as sweet and loving and calm as the gelding until breeding season, where he would cover a few mares, and then he would just look right through me. He didn't even know me anymore. It was weird. I've never been equipped to have a stallion. I don't have the facility to have a stallion. I have too many mares around. I have too many children around. I'm not set up that way, and I know my limits. I know the candidates that I can have and the candidates that I can and can't and shouldn't or should never even think about bringing onto my property. And we all have to address our I don't want to say our weaknesses, but we all have to address what we can and can't manage. A stallion needs someone to manage it in a way that keeps the horse safe and keeps other humans safe and keeps other horses safe. And it's a big task to take on. And I've never had the bandwidth to do that. Number 2, remember when you get a horse, any horse, whether it's a stallion, mare, gelding, 22 years old, 2 years old, and it gets dropped off at your house, that horse is scared, whether he shows it or not, and he's not going to. He's a prey animal. He's not going to show you he's scared. He's scared and needs to be treated with kid gloves. You can't just assume, it's... When we start thinking of them as livestock or things to buy and sell or sports equipment, we forget all of these things. And if we would just keep in mind their sensitivity, their intelligence, and their sentience, this could have been very traumatic. Let's say it was a bottle baby. Let's say this was a bottle baby. And those were the people that raised him. And they just dropped him off at a stranger. And these are the only people that, he's known or been around. He could have been terrified. He could have been acting out of complete fear and confusion. So let us, I think I lost my list, I'm sorry. Let us, number 1, remember our limitations as humans. Number 2, let us remember that the horses are not trading cards. They are not Matchbox cards that you trade with your friends, or marbles that you trade with your friends, or I'm really dating myself now. They're not something that you trade with your friends. It's a horse with a life. They have other horses that they love and become attached to, and when you yank them out of their life and send them someplace else, there's going to be a period of time where they need to become comfortable again. And you can't have huge expectations for a horse that's making a transition like that. You can't. Number 3, she should have done more homework. She should have gone there. Okay, so it's a free horse. Here she's getting a free horse, but look at the expense in the end that it cost her. Rather, save up the money and buy a horse that is coming from a reputable trainer. Or why not lease a horse that from a friend or a nearby facility that maybe they don't need that horse anymore, and it's a horse that's already doing what you need it to do, so you can bring it in and you can move forward from there. Finding something that fits a little bit better with what your expectations are, so there's not such a huge divide in what the horse can give you and what your expectations are, because that gets us into trouble all the time. Number 4, I'm sorry. How about letting them, the people that drop the horse off, hang out for a little while and show you, can I see you lead the horse around? Can you put him on the lunge line maybe? Can I see you, can you pick up his feet? Can I watch you interact with him? Can I watch you handle him? That might maybe been a great idea. Then let those people walk him to the stall or to the corral or to the field or whatever it is. Let them take the halter off. Let them say goodbye. And then you go and the next week, 10 days, what have you, with a protective barrier between you, start to get to know the horse. Start to let the horse get to know you. Let them see that, hey, I'm your new friend that you can trust. I'm going to be bringing you food, and I'm going to be giving you fresh water, and I'm going to be, talking to you and helping you adjust. How about that? How about letting the seller or the giver awayer get the horse into a safe spot for you? And then you, again, for however long it takes, you and the horse build up a relationship with protective contact between you. There's another solution. This could have been avoided in so many ways. But I think because she felt, I have 15 years of experience, that she could handle anything. But I guess now she sees that this probably wasn't even in her trajectory of thoughts, that a horse could have this kind of a breakdown, which is what it was. It was an emotional and or mental breakdown. I mean, normally horses don't behave this way. Something either was going on physically, or this horse has suffered horrible, horrible trauma. Whatever it was, the people that dropped the horse off, the people that gave the horse away, should have stayed. And I wonder now if she has contacted them and what the recourse is and what have you. Maybe they were the ones that decided, put the horse down, we don't want him back, or whatever. It would be nice to know a little bit more about it. But even just at face value, it's a great topic for discussion about how to keep yourself safer in the inevitable process of, if you need to bring a horse into your life and you weren't born on a breeding farm, you're going to have to bring horses in. So we all need to understand and have more compassion and more empathy for the horses that we are bringing into our lives. I understand why she did what she did. My friend made a lot of sense when she said that could be a huge liability for her. Again, I keep thinking there could have been a safe house for him. There could have been a safe spot. It's done. It doesn't matter. It's done now. But hopefully, to prevent someone else from getting into that same situation, we need to have these conversations, and we need to be able to talk about these things. Not only to save your hide, but to save the horse's hide. They're in our human world. We have brought them into our human world. We have to help them navigate that world sometimes. Sometimes we have to help them navigate our human world. And we have to feel a responsibility for them, whether we've owned them for 5 minutes or we've owned them for 15 years. We have to feel a responsibility for them. Thank you for listening. Please hit the subscribe button. It would be really great if you did. And give us a comment. This is a very controversial conversation. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks a lot.